Stone County Extension saves the world.
How's it going? We're here. Stone County Extension saves the world. It's August and it's hot.
It is hot.
It's like 110 degrees.
We went to the races. I've not been to Batesville Motor Speedway ever, and the heat index was 114 when we went.
Addie actually went.
Whitney saw her.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was with her buddy.
That was
I think her dad races.
That's what we were wondering. I don't know if they were in that race in particular is what we were talking about. Whitney knew, I think it's Haslam maybe.
Yeah, Haslam.
But we were at the Topless 100. Like I said, I've lived here. You know, I'm a Stone County girl, and I've never been. And I didn't know what a hot lap was. I learned all kinds of things. And it was really cool when all the engines fired up and were moving around. But it was hot, so...
And with it being hot, that's kind of what I thought I'd talk about today, is kind of dealing with drought stuff, but we'll get into it a little bit later. Like, I know that the grass in my yard is really dry. That fell.
Oh, my book fell.
Your stuff's falling.
There's always something. Oh, man.
So, anyways... We'll get reset.
It's going to be one of those days. Michelle.
It's because I'm here.
And so we're in... I'll be talking a little bit about drought today, and then the Stone County Fair's coming up, our favorite time of the year. Stone County Fair will be the first week of September, and... No,
it's always a busy week.
I think you're talking a little bit about some stuff with fair today.
I'm going to talk a little bit about your fair entries and then putting your canned goods in the fair. I had a person come in this week wondering what the judges look for. So I'll give a few tips on that. I do help teach fair judging schools, and those are a lot of fun. If that's something you think you might be interested in, let us know. There's always people looking for fair judges, especially like quilt judges. That's one of the hardest ones to find.
A quilt judge?
A quilt judge.
Do you know what they have to judge on? Like, what do they...
Well, I'm not as familiar with quilts, but they're going to be looking at stitching and the fabric, and like they know what direction you went, if you switched up directions or you changed, and just overall, quality and fabrication. But I feel like you really have to be good at the craft to understand what you're looking for.
I could judge. I'd go, that's a nice quilt. And then I'd take it and put it on. Oh, this one's warm. That's a good quilt.
Oh, that's a good quilt.
That's a blue ribbon. Put on another one. This one's not so...
Oh, that would be your criteria.
This is not so warm.
Well,
not so comfy.
When you have someone that's really good at... a really good judge who knows the craft, they really teach you a lot. It's nice to walk around with another judge if you're interested in that kind of thing, or say that you like to enter those items and you're like, why am I not getting that first place ribbon? And so understanding their theories and what they're looking for really helps.
Do you know how to sew?
Not really. I can do a little. That's one thing I would really like to learn and be better at, is sewing. It's interesting how the arts kind of, what that kind of went through a phase. It was uncool.
Yeah.
And now it's back.
It's back. Yeah. I like to watch guys on YouTube sew their shirt, make their own shirts and stuff. That's pretty cool. I think I'd like to learn.
Well, I think Brandon would do really well, especially when you're talking about the patterns.
Yeah.
And you're taking construction of the item that you're making. There's some math and some thought definitely put into that. So,
all right. Well, as we roll into it, do you got anything coming up, updates that you want to kind of give? We're kind of in for ag stuff. I'm more going out on farm visits, so don't have too many educational programs this time of year. It'll probably be more into the fall when I start kicking those out.
What I have coming up is, I talked last week about youth leadership. Applications are due September 11th if you have any 8th or 9th graders in the county. Homeschool, public school, we'd love to have them. It's a great program. And also on Tuesday of next week, we have a shooting sports interest meeting for 4-H. and we're bringing shotgun back because you do archery. And then most of my stuff kind of gets rolling again post fair. So Mediterranean cooking, I have a class right before the fair, but it's already full. So
Yeah.
I'm going to hit that in September. So that's going to be kind of my fall thing as Mediterranean cooking, and then my cooking club, 4-H cooking club, starts back in September.
Where are y'all doing or where's the meeting going to be? The interest
The
meeting?
interest meeting is going to be at the Stone County Extension Office at 205 Martin Street, and we're the Rock Building, and it'll be at 5:30 on August 25th. So hope to see you.
You doing
there.
any first shot fundamentals? Or
Not
are y'all
that
just
day,
doing like interest meeting?
We're purely interest meeting, answering a lot of questions, probably trying to figure out a good meeting date. And, this will be Brennan's like first 4-H meeting in his life. So,
Yeah.
so it'll be good for him.
It should be
It'll be
good.
fun. It'll be good. So,
Yeah. If we can take a break if you want. So, let's see. Well, as we get into the educational,
I
or
think you
before
need
we
to
get
talk
into the
about
educational,
iLead.
you wanted me to talk a little bit about iLead. Well, so I've graduated. What iLead is like the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture's kind of internal leadership program. It's a year-long thing, and there's every other month there's a session, and we go somewhere around the state, look at like a research station or an extension center or research extension centers.
And I didn't know
You
there was
go
a
all
difference
over
until...
and see, meet a lot of people, see different things. But what was it? Past Thursday.
Yes, you had your...
Yeah, we had our graduation, and we went up and talked a little bit about our iLead projects. Kind of that's the last thing is you give a little presentation, and mine was about the community garden. And I try to make my stuff funny when I'm presenting.
Yeah.
I like to put in some gifs or jokes, and then I had pictures of our little cat that we had found, little Fuzz, or little Biz.
That was in somebody's car, right?
Yeah, is in Samantha Barker's car. Like we get up to leave in the October deal from the hotel, and we're carpooling, and she's like, "Tyler, I think there's a cat under my hood," and she popped it, and sure enough, there's a little kitten there. And we're trying to decide what to do with her. And one of the guys had called some shelters, and the little things like crawling around on us and being all cute and stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I'll keep this thing.
It's coming home with
It's
me.
coming up with me, and she's been a good cat.
Yeah, you had a lot of pictures of her. It was funny. Just when you thought it's like she had so many photo ops in the PowerPoint. That was great.
But talked about the community garden. I think we're sitting pretty good. We've got 8 raised beds out there right now. I think a couple of more folks are wanting one, and we can build as people want one. And what we're doing with those raised beds is it's you just let us know. We're not charging right now. We're just trying to grow this naturally, but it's your bed, your 4 foot by 8 foot raised bed that you can grow whatever in, and it's good for about a year. And as we grow, it may turn into we have to have some rules, and we may have to do rental something. I don't know how it's going to go. It's just
I've seen some good stuff come out of it.
It's going pretty good, and so I'm excited
and it's also
about that.
an educational place for you.
Yeah, that's what I use it a lot for, is to do educational programming. That's why I wanted to build it.
We have our asparagus class. We grow it, preserve it kind of classes we do.
So it talked about that. What all did y'all do? You started.
Yeah.
It was your first iLead?
Yes, it was my first iLead. So day 1, we got photos, and then Dr. Molinet spoke. He's more over the AES side.
Yeah, so Dr. John Anderson, he's over the cooperative extension, and then Dr. Molinet's, research, or the AES.
Yes, so Dr. Molinet spoke with us, and then Dr. Anderson, and they talked a little bit about what they do, but then their leadership and where they've kind of progressed through to get to where they are. And Dr. Molinet talked about how he realized he needed to, gain more experience in leadership as he worked his way up through. And Dr. Anderson spoke, and he spoke about what qualities he believes is in a leader. And we all kind of worked through that, and we did we did real colors is what it is now. And you had done that last year and brought that to us, and that's like a personality kind of assessment.
Yeah.
And it's always funny because I'm always complain that I'm a blue, which is really ironic for a blue. But it's great to understand. And one thing we got really onto as a group was how emails are worded. And it was funny, the gold group thought the blue group was kind of ridiculous because I say, like, I like my emails to start out with, like, good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah.
And then I kind of go into my subject, and they're big on sending, like, one line. I need you to do this.
Yeah.
And we all said, like, we'd consider that's aggressive.
I never know. Like, I'm always like, hey, so-and-so. Hey, how's it going?
I just, like, revert back to if I was having an actual conversation to somebody, how would I start? And when I worked in construction, if you called somebody and just immediately started talking about what you needed, I don't know, it just rubbed people the wrong way. But if you said, hey, do you have a minute to talk about this? Yeah. It seemed like that's kind of how they were a little more
open to talking about it.
Yeah, or they might say, you know what, I'm really in the heat of something right now. I'm going to call you back in a little bit. Mm-hmm. And now if I call them back or they forgot to call me back, it might be a little different next time. But, it's just funny. We were talking about how you conversate and the different communication styles and how that relates to our different personality types. And, how the golds, they're very list task oriented. Mm-hmm. The blues are more into emotions and feelings. The greens are really problem solving, which was interesting. The bulk of like the researchers were golds and greens.
Yeah.
And like I think it was me and almost everybody in my group was agents. And then there was one orange. And
who was that?
That was Lane. And she does a lot of like the 4-H camp. So she has photography camp and what was the other one? Like performing arts. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually like a blue orange, but I'm more
That's
orange.
What I am.
Yeah, I'm more no, you're orange.
Well, I'm an orange like I scored high on orange, blue, and green. We're all pretty close, but I'm an orange. And then gold was very low.
Gold was very low and my green is getting lower as I get older. And my problem solving I guess is going down, but I feel like I'm more orange at home, which is more outgoing and so we did that. That was our first day, and then we had like an evening session too. And then the second day was the ropes course. And normally
how'd that go? Did you get up
there,
or were you scared?
Historically, I'm scared of heights, and what is that? 15, 20 feet off the ground? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's way more than 10, I'll say. Yeah. And I went up there, and I made it through multiple obstacles. But man, that Tarzan swing, I had like 2 false starts. Because there's nothing, like it's just a rope and you're hanging on. It doesn't even have a knot for your feet. So I was nervous about that. But I finally went, like Camilla was like, you can do it. I'll grab you. And she had to grab me or I would have been, I'd still be hanging up there. And then.
Is she in your group or was she just?
No, she's in our group.
Right.
And we had a large group. We have like, I think 20 people. And then I finally got over to that, and then it was Rupesh's turn, and so, but we all had to help each other. Like, we all were, like, explaining how we got through that obstacle, or you have to watch each other clip off, and so that's where the teamwork elements, and he did that one, and I think he was like, I'm good, I conquered my fear. Well, I tried to move on, and then I started to get stuck on one, and I started to get the shaky legs, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't get off of here. And so
it's like, someone come get me.
I don't know how that little old David was gonna get me off of there if I got stuck. And so they helped talk me out of that one, and I was like, I think I'm good. I feel like
you zip line.
I did, and that made me a little nervous too, because you kind of drop down and go. But I was really proud of myself for doing all that. And everybody, I mean, the participation was very high. There's only a few that weren't able to do it. And then that afternoon, we did some other problem solving. And they said, like, we had 2 groups on platforms, and there wasn't enough boards to truly easily get across.
Yeah.
And you had to work together. And, like, one group, they dropped theirs. And then we ended up... What did Ryan say? He was the sacrifice. He fell off with the board, and then you had to open this deal, and it decided what you did. Yeah. Well, thankfully, he was able to come back, because it was like floor is lava.
Yeah.
And so, But apparently, it's not uncommon when they have adult groups there that they get mad and yell at people for dropping boards and stuff. And I thought, this is just a team building exercise. This isn't
trying to work together,
this
learn to
isn't-
work together.
Like the floor isn't really lava, but they all work together. And I felt like I wasn't that big of a help on it all. But I was like, yeah, that'll be good, encouraging. And
Are you a yeller?
no, I did go, oh no, when the board fell.
I think I need to yell more. I think as
don't
far
know
as
about
leadership, I think I need to start
No,
yelling
I don't think so.
and be more angry. I think that would help
No.
us a whole lot.
Help how? Us? It's not gonna
Yeah, help
me.
run this office. If I just come in and just started yelling about
Yeah, that's not going to work out well for you. I can tell you right now.
screaming, yeah.
Anyway, enough of that.
It might. We should
no.
try it. I'll try. I'll
And-
start yelling.
And then we had a activity in the afternoon. We stole a golf cart at the 4-H center.
What?
Because you weren't we didn't really steal it. We borrowed it. You weren't supposed to walk, like you had to count your steps and you were going to lose if you were stepping.
Mm-hmm.
And so the logical thing was to get the golf cart at the 4-H center.
Yeah, you should have just took it and then just drove out of the 4-H center and just
No,
drove to
no,
Little
no,
Rock.
no.
Drove down Ferndale.
And a golf cart.
Yeah, that would have been
No,
fun.
we just borrowed it, but it was really good team building. We had to work together to get it started and all that kind of stuff.
Good team building. I think doing something mischievous. I think that's what
Yeah.
we're going to do next year as a
Well-
team building. Is we're going to go out
Mischievous.
and toilet paper someone's house in the
gosh.
evening. I
Well-
think that would be good team building.
That's an expensive team building. I have to find
Or
something
we could
cheaper.
throw dough.
Oh gosh, better not. Well, it was good team building, and then Pictionary was a lot of fun. And I mean, we were like 8 to 8:30. These are long days, but I felt like the group meshed really well. It was great to get to know everybody. And then the third day we went. Are we getting close on time?
We got about
We got
10
a minute.
minutes.
Okay. And then the third day we went and toured the state office and then the systems office, which I didn't know existed.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed till we
Yeah,
got
that's
down
where
there.
Dr. Fields is, and then the president of the University of
Don't ask
Arkansas.
me.
I'm not
I don't
certain.
know, I don't know.
Or if it was the
There's
president of
something
ULR.
president office.
I'm not sure, but Dr. Fields is there, and Christina Breckenridge.
You got the tour. You should more recent.
I got a tour of a lot of things, and I don't remember every detail. But we talked about what projects we were wanting to do, and everybody had really good projects. And I thought, man, And then we got to listen to all of y'all's projects, and I thought,
You're like,
how are we going to get through all of my classes?
yeah. We got 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 minutes. I think's what
Oh,
it
okay.
said. So I don't
Well,
know. I'd
there's-
limit y'all.
There's 20 of us, and if they gave us 5 minutes, it's 100 minutes straight.
I can tell you, they're like, invite whoever you want to your graduation. I ain't coming to yours.
What a leader.
Yeah.
Because it'll be long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not coming.
Well, and then that afternoon we had really talked about our definition of a leader. And what was interesting is we had 5 different groups, and honesty ended up in it. And then we really debated that one because it's like, honesty alone may not be the best leadership quality depending on how you use it. But the definition started out with trust. And so when you laugh, and I was thinking about how somebody in my household is a little too honest
little
sometimes.
too honest.
So, but anyway,
What was it he
was a
said
great
when
day.
you was cutting his hair? That one's the best burn I've ever
No,
heard.
I'm not telling that.
Why not? It's
Well,
funny.
I will. So, because the first part's, I wasn't meaning it like a negative. I was just stating a fact. But I cut Brandon's hair, my husband, and I was going along the side on the front, and I was like, and I was trying to figure out how to deal with the hair because there's not a lot right there. And I was like, you're getting a little thin right there. And he's like, you're getting a little thick.
Right there.
I was like, man.
Then you go.
I wasn't. No.
Whoops.
No, he,
Give him a bowl cut.
no, he promised that my eyebrows and part of my frontal of my hair would be gone if I ever purposely did that. And I think you and I both know he'd do it. So at first he had thought my eyebrows, but they grow back so fast. I think he thought, well, that
Yeah.
wouldn't work. So, Well, that's a
He
fun
used to
fact
have
about
bowl
us.
cut. You should talk him into doing it again. I think they're going to come back. Since we've mentioned them, that's the next style.
You know, I would have never thought a mullet would have come back.
Yeah.
And it's been around a while now.
And that seems like how it went. Mullet was popular in the 90s, and then it was the bowl cut. So
When was the rat tail? Was it in between
bowl cut was, or the rat tail was in between the mullet,
and the bowl cut?
Bowl cut. Or they were all kind of right there. Like it was like mullet was going out, and then it turned into the little rat tail, and then it was.
What was that where just like the whole bottom of your collar, basically, you grew the hair long?
I mean, you could
But,
either
like,
call that a mullet or a rat tail.
I mean, that.
And we're back on Triggered, the podcast. So we've had we're going to be in the newspaper. You excited?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I
Oh, man.
appreciate them doing that.
Do you think we'll become famous in Stone County from it? People will be walking and people will be like, "Hey, can I get a picture with you? You were in the newspaper."
There's famous and then there's notorious, so I don't know which one it'll be,
Yeah.
especially today.
Yeah. Well, Anna's got me in a mood. Yeah.
They don't need the deets.
You don't need the deets, but what was mentioning is the fair's coming up, and the fair, it just puts me in the mood. You know, I get that everybody loves the fair. I liked the fair when I wasn't involved in it. I enjoyed the rides, hanging out, going to the livestock shows, walking around, seeing all what everybody brought. That's real cool. But then once you get involved and people start asking you questions and assuming and then blaming you for what they think's not quick enough, yeah, I get a little triggered.
Yeah, we have more of a educational advisory role. We don't have any, decision making.
Yeah, we have no decision-making power. Pretty much what we do here at the Extension Office is just a good central location that the Fair Board can say, this is where you can get your your exhibitor number, or if you want tags, or easy place to pick up the catalog. It's a good central location that you can say. Other than that, we're advisors, and
if you're looking for a butt to chew, it's not ours.
well, I mean, you can chew on us, but I might tell you what I think afterwards.
Opinions are free.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, emotions tend to run high during
Yeah.
fair time, and that's the part that's not fun about
Yeah,
the fair.
everybody's...
You know, you get a bunch of... It's basically a competition. So you have a whole county competing against each other. You know, I guess that's what does it.
I know what does it. I don't know if you'll let me mention it. The money. The money is what gets everybody all cranky. Because in the livestock, they do, if you're a junior exhibitor, if you... Depending on... You can make the premium sell.
Okay, I follow you.
And with that whole thing's what causes all the issues is...
And that's like a fair in general thing. Like that's
people wanting to make the premium sell, and that's where...
they forget, too, that it's the kids learning to raise this project.
Yeah, they'll say,
the
like, a lot of people
goal.
will be like, it's about the kids, and then they'll be the ones...
Then the parents are the ones that are
Yeah,
mad.
the kids are cool, and then parents
they have such a good time in
parents
that barn.
are misbehaving, you know.
The kids have a big time in that barn.
Yeah,
so it's fun. I'm
but
looking forward to our contest.
do you have any funny fair stories?
You know, my parents were both on the fair board, so I kind of grew up around the Stone County Fair, and I just remember I wasn't very teachable, I guess. Like, they would tell me stuff, and, like, don't wrap that, lead around your hand. That'd be the first thing I'd do, and my poor pig, I'd just slap him all around the ring, and I remember one time we were loading up the hogs to go to the fair, and we were at Mom and Dad's place, and it was Mom, Granddad Bob, my sister, and me. And it was super muddy, and I was young enough I didn't have to be in there, so I'm just like watching. And they're trying to load up a few, and then my sister's standing there, and a hog just walks up behind her and just takes a big old bite out of her rear end. And you know, like on the cartoon where they're like, yow! And they like throw their hands back and grab, like that's what happened. And then when we pull in to like unload, they're like covered in mud and stuff. So that was fun. I like it when the hog show gets wild. That's one of my favorite parts. I know it's not fun for the kids, but I like it.
Yeah, when
they get all
they get a
rowdy.
little bit rowdy and they run around the ring.
Yeah, like my dad would always make that noise. So I think that's fun. I like seeing all the chickens, all the canned goods, the all the different veggies and stuff. So.
You go watch the beauty pageants?
No, I don't. That's not my jam. But you know, it is a lot of people's, but it's not my jam.
I think it would be funny. Have you ever watched a beauty pageant?
Yes, I know exactly what you're about to say.
Have I said this before?
Not on the podcast.
Not on the pod. But so I think it would be funny. I think this is what we should start doing at the Stone County Fair. If we, we're wanting to make it more enjoyable, more fun. I don't know how enjoyable it would be for the participants, but for the crowd, I think that it would be great. As if they judged beauty pageants like they judge livestock shows. Do you think that would be funny?
Funny, yes. Most likely.
I think it's a good bit. I need to work it up.
I don't think that in practice it would go over well. I think maybe if you had a group of men, they might take it a little better. I mean, if you had a breeding category, that'd be, like livestock judging.
You could separate your own categories, but the standards would be like, we have in livestock, it's like you have your breeding and then you have your market animals. But so in humans, we still keep the categories, young, Little Miss Stone County or whatever it is, Miss Stone County. But then you have like the standards and so if you ever seen a livestock show, like they'll get out and they'll be like, all right, we got a good pen or a good class of market hogs here. I'm going to go ahead and start the class with this one bear here, the spot bear. He's got a good wide base, and you can see how he's got good spring of rib and track. I think we should do that. Is like, all right, I'm going to place this class of Little Miss Stone County in first place here. We're going to start with the little redhead. She's real tickled. She got a real good grin, nice smile, cute little eyes, and that's a nice dress. And she walks around. Her daddy carries her around real good. You can tell she's a well-behaved child. In second place, I'm going to place this little brunette with curly hair. One thing I'd change about her is she kind of cried a little bit. I'd like to make her behavior or her disposition a little bit happier.
They might need to work with her a little more on that.
Yeah, I might need to work with her a little bit more. And to round out the class here, we're going to go with this little blonde-headed kid here, the little blonde. She just, you could swap them here or there, but she for me, it's just not going to do. I think that would be funny. And then if you move up to like the Miss America pageant, that's where it can really get exciting. I think there's a bit there.
There might be a bit there.
But I think it would. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start my own beauty pageant, and that's how we're going to judge, like a livestock show, like where it's you don't just announce the, in our first runner up and second runner up, first runner up, and our winner. Like that little judge's score sheet. We talk about it. We give reasons why.
Oh, man.
The judge has to give reasons why they placed the class that way. I guess that's what the funny thing would be, is that the judge has to give reasons why they placed the beauty pageant.
How you did the reasons, but man, you would talk about fired them up.
So I think that would be funny if there's something there about the bit. It would definitely
be entertaining to witness.
I just got to...
I think it'd be funny if, like, you had, like, say this was, like, an agent bit, and you got, like, 4 agents up there, and then you talked about each of preferably male, and you talked about each of them about their qualities. That'd be funny.
Yeah. There's something there. I just got to figure it
Yeah.
out. But it's a funny thought. Speaking of fair, and judging,
Yep.
you gonna judge?
I want to talk a little bit about, mainly on canned goods, but entering your items into the fair. So, one interesting thing I learned through the years of teaching fair judging is we judge based off of the Dutch system. So, there's a Dutch system and American system, which you probably know this because you've done some fair judging.
Yeah, but people don't know.
Yeah. So, the Dutch system, everything is judged on its own merit, and that's how we do that at the Stone County Fair. Now, not all fairs in Arkansas do the Dutch system. And the American system is, say you have 7 items in one class or lot, but you're only going to place first, second, third, and then the remainder are not going to receive a ribbon, or they would only get a participation ribbon.
Yeah.
But at the Stone County Fair, we judge everything on its own merit with the Dutch system. Now, once you've judged your category, then a lot of times you'll pick a best of show from that. And then that's when you're judging them against each other at that point, which I have also seen I rarely do this, but sometimes they do not even name a best of show if they didn't feel that one really, stood out. One important thing is the fair catalog is available online right now, and it's coming out this week, which today is the 17th of August, just for a little context of time. But you've really got to pay attention to what's required. So photographs have to be a certain size on a certain type of mat, and that's very important. And you don't want to get there that day and figure that out. So each item you're considering entering, make sure you go through that. A lot of people call it the tabloid, and look at what's required and the amount you can enter into all these different categories. And so one thing that I've noticed is sometimes it's like, why did you bring that in if you hadn't dusted it off, cleaned it up?
I've said that. When I've judged like horticulture, and I guess if kind of to interrupt you here with a funny story about judging.
Please.
So I haven't been back, which tells me that they didn't like me. But Izard County, I was judging over there one time, and I usually judge like the horticulture, and that's pretty easy. For like horticulture, you have to look, and there's a certain number of, say, if you're bringing in okra, depending on the fair, it may be you bring in 3 okra, 4 okra, 5 okra for the set. It depends. But if there are sets of them, you want them to look uniform. Like you want them to look identical and look good. No blemishes if you're wanting that blue ribbon. But so one year I was judging in Izard County, and I got done with the horticulture, and they needed me to judge something else because they didn't have a judge for scrapbooks.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, so...
You look like a scrapbook judge.
I guess. I meant the scrapbooks know what I'm looking for. So I get up there, and I'm just like, yeah, I can judge. And so I'm looking through the scrapbooks, and the lady that was there, helped, writing down what I was judging. Like, I go through, and, I judge this one, and there's 3 or 4, so not many. And I pick one that I thought was the best. And apparently... This lady that was helping me, she's part of the EHC, and they had won it for the last 10 years. With their scrapbook, and they lost because I picked a different one. Oh no! And I haven't been back since.
You stopped the win streak.
Yep. She's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "I like this one."
That brings another point. I try to get different judges every year. But I want, a lot of times our judges are EHC members, so I wonder if they just naturally.
Yeah, I don't know. They shouldn't have got me.
I bet.
I don't know nothing about scrapbooks. I was just looking at, how it looked, what looked cool.
Well, it may have. You probably did pick the best one as you saw it, and that's the thing about judging. There's a little bit of subjectivity. Scrapbooks would be tough. Canning, thankfully, is a lot simpler, I think, because more rules, and it would be a little more simple to judge, but...
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, there's probably a reason you weren't asked back. But yeah, I don't bring in stuff with, blemishes and disease and, bad spots or dusty or like canned goods, you really got to wash them off. And you just really need to know your categories, and it's best if you can have your item already figured out what it's going into before you show up there. So if you can pop in and get some tags here at the office, but sometimes we end up running out of those. But know where you're entering it, because it can be really overwhelming on check-in day. Because we do check in, like when you get there, you are checking in your items. We don't have an electronic system, which I've seen the positives and negatives to those. But canned goods in the state of Arkansas, do you open them up and try the food?
No.
Nope. They're judged by visual inspection only. Now, taking that into account, if you have the dried food category, it's at the judge's discretion if they want to try it. But I can tell you, I've had some positives and negatives in that area. So when I've judged dry foods, the first thing I do is pop that open and take a sniff. And if there's any amount of like musty smell, which you would be surprised, there's no way I'm trying that. And then one time I popped it open, smelled good, but I didn't like look all the way around in the jar, and then like I saw bugs in it.
Ew.
And I was like, I gotta be a little more careful.
Blech,
so
blech.
the judge may not be trying your dried items.
I'd be gagging.
Yeah, so typically when they're placing, just a little bit of idea what's in their head, Best to Show is going to have no mistakes, and it may stand out in the crowd. So depending on the area you're in, really, I don't know what's going to stand out in the crowd. First place, the way I judge it is I allow one mistake. Second place, 2 or more. I usually don't like to give out the white thirds. It has to be like kind of like a safety risk or something just major. And so with food preservation, one thing that gets people that they may not know is that it has to follow USDA recommendations. So, I mean, if it's supposed to be pressure canned, it just kind of also depends on if it's labeled or not. But
yeah.
If it's supposed to be pressure canned, it better be pressure canned. If it's supposed to be water canned, it needs to be water canned. And any paraffin wax or plastic lids are not going to be taken. And the fair rules will usually outline what they're willing to take. But it does say follow the USDA recommendations, and that is the 2-piece metal lid system, not the Tadler lids or paraffin. Another thing that gets people too is like, I know, and a lot of judges are going to know that like you're not supposed to can white nectarines. So if you enter in white nectarines, you're probably not going to get that blue ribbon if that judge knows that there's no USDA recommendations for that. So insert that with like, all kinds of different jams and jellies and stuff. So if you're entering in something odd like that, it may not go well. So just consider that in the canned area. And you're not supposed to can pasta noodles or rice. So if I see that in a canned soup, that's already a mark down. Also, quarter pint and half pint jars are not recommended by the USDA. So that's going to be a negative.
What size is this?
This is a quart. So the quarter pints, they're really little jars. And then the half gallon, they're usually about this tall. So half pints, and quarts. So this is a bunch of what not to do. So we'll talk about it. So, but you also want those smooth-sided jars. Like the quilted jars are beautiful, but when you're trying to judge, you can't see as well through the quilted. And some fairs have more rules on that than others, but only the 2-piece metal lid and ring system. It's a good idea for them to be the same color, but I don't focus really heavy on the brand of the lid and the brand of the jar because it's so hard to get lids. But some judges may knock you for that. But my main thing when I'm judging canned items is the first thing I'm going to do is check headspace. So if you're here, or if you're watching on YouTube.
I see what that lady means when she's like, that is absolutely disgusting.
So first off, it really bothers me when people bring a dirty jar. And some counties have told me before when we do fair judging that they clean them. And I'm like, I'm not. You should have brought it clean. Like other people brought it clean. You should have brought it clean. So that's kind of up to the superintendent's discretion. But this one's dirty. That's gross. And what had happened is it had overflowed. And so it's supposed to have a 1-inch headspace. So that's from the top of the food to the top of the jar. And it looks like it's got like 3/4 to a half. So that's, first off, wrong headspace. So for me, if your headspace is wrong, you can't win best of show. And it has a lot of other issues, so it's really nasty, grimy. So make sure that you clean it. Make sure that you have the correct headspace, and that's going to vary with whatever product you have. And then this one's just full of air bubbles.
Yeah.
And then they're like the products above the liquid, and it's a different color. So this is probably a third place. Like, this one's pretty bad. It really shouldn't have even been accepted. But I can understand, like, when people are bringing stuff in, it's hard to, like, say no. I have had stuff unsealed before, so that's like a DQ. But yeah, headspace. Liquid should cover your product. There shouldn't be liquid with, like, barbecue sauce or ketchup. Like, it should be, like a liquid above it.
Yeah.
It should be incorporated. Mineral deposits. I've seen, like, mold, because we're going to take the rings off. And I've seen, like, mold and little bugs, like, around where the ring is. Tyler's like, what? I've seen mold inside. I've seen hair inside jars. So you really got to look through. And then you want everything cut up uniform. So we want everything the same size. Okra and peppers, like whole ones, are really tough to win because they're bad to float. They call it, like, fruit float is another issue. So if you've got that going on, I just wouldn't bring that one in. Another thing, too, like green beans, like, you need all the stems off. If there's any blemishes.
Yeah.
And you probably see that, like, when you're doing hort, like, a blemish is going to be automatic, probably red for you. So no messed up stems or decayed or sunburnt, like sunburnt spots. No stem ends in canned items. And then another thing that kind of throws people off sometimes, like jelly, like it's supposed to be clear. So I'm going to hold it for the fair. Like if I make it at home, I don't really want to run it through the cheesecloth, but I'm going to hold it up to the light and look for all that clarity. So we're going to look for a clear product, nothing uneven, no like foam on top. Like I'm going to knock you down a notch for that. If the top of the can item's darker, that a lot of times like a sign of over processing, so that's a negative. But then I've also seen like at the very bottom of the jar, like it was like corn one time and it was brown.
Yeah.
So it kind of got caramelized. I don't think they had like a rack on the bottom that you're supposed to have. If anything looks like overly mushy, like if those green beans look like they've just disintegrated, that's going to be a negative. No air bubbles, no foam. If you do pickles and things like that, they shouldn't have a lot of really much sediment. And the judges, like, they're usually going to have like a manual. And so like when I go to vegetables, I'm going to flip over to the vegetable section and I'm going to be looking at that. One thing, if you have something that was supposed to be gelled and it's not, just call that sucker a syrup. Don't call it jelly when it's like loosey-goosey,
Makes sense.
Yeah, call that a syrup. Juice should pour, so we don't want it too watery or thick. No seeds or layering. But so if you want to win, like if you want that purple ribbon, make sure your head space is top notch. Riveting stuff, isn't it? Tyler's over there like,
I'm yawning.
Oh. But I had somebody come in wanting these tips. So,
it's good to talk about. Like we've talked, it gets very competitive.
It does. No rust on your rings either. That'll get you. I'm just kind of looking through my little thing, but no seeds, no layering. It's always nice to have something. We talked earlier. I said something that stands out. So what is that going to be? One year it was golden beets, and one year Ashley folks had made this really pretty pepper jelly, and it like sometimes when you make a jelly like that, so pepper jelly has cut up pieces of fruit in it, or pepper obviously, and sometimes the pieces will go right to the top. But she had followed USDA recommendations. It worked out perfect, and it was all throughout, and it was really pretty. I think the judges' note looked like confetti in a jar, so it looked great. So anyway, whenever you're bringing something to the fair, make sure that it's top notch, like it's your best. It's your best eggs, it's your best squash, your best okra. They're uniform, like you don't have dust on it. It's clean. You don't have smudge marks on your paintings or drawings, and just think about that. But it's fun as a kid entering a bunch of different things, and there's so many
Yeah.
categories. Like people don't realize, the amount of options and just food preservation and food prep. I know Whitney will be entering the King Arthur Flowers, so
Isn't that a pretty big contest?
that one's a fun one. I joke like Susan Carroll, one of my EHC ladies, I call it like the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Like if you've won every category of King Arthur Flowers, so there's bread, cake, cookies, muffins, pie. I'm like said, she's going for the Grand
Yeah,
Slam.
you do try that, don't
Now,
you? Like the baked goods?
the baked
as
goods.
the judge?
So that's one thing that's like tough now. We have a lot of people with different dietary restrictions, so it's tough to find someone who's like fully able to try everything. But yes, you're supposed to try everything. And one year, one of the judges didn't try the King Arthur Flower entries. And so King Arthur Flower, you win monetary prizes for first through third. And so that one's super
You
competitive.
can win monetary for horticulture items because the Master Gardener's for Grand Champion. And they have, like, again, maybe not every class or category will have a best of show. But there will be best of shows, and then Master Gardeners, they offer up a monetary reward if you get to that Grand
And
Champion.
if you look, they have several monetary for juniors, so that's 18 and under for like the biggest or the giant category. I think they give money, and like they have several things. And phone's ringing. But the kids who do poultry chain, if you're in 4-H and you win, you get an extra, money added on from our office for Grand
if you
and
get
Reserve.
Grand and Reserve, yeah. Well, I'm going to check that, see what they want. Well,
Deep subject.
have you ever been shushed, like out in public?
Man, it just like irritates you. Even if you full deserved the shush. Shh.
That makes you want to say something to somebody
Yeah,
when
it
you
does.
get shushed.
That's why
Be
like,
real loud
That's
then.
like working with kids. Like that's on my list of don't do's.
Shushing kids.
Yeah, like young adult kids, like 4-H members. Like I try never to shush.
Young adult
On-
kids. Would they be called young adults?
You turned on me.
The
You
teens.
turned on me.
Well, she turned on me earlier, and so
Man, it's so terrible having a coworker that's like, maybe that's not a good idea. Instead of, sure, go ahead and let the consequences find you. Was that not me showing leadership by trying to?
that was you blocking leadership. I was showing leadership by putting out there my complaints, but
airing your grievances.
But yeah, we were having a
Trying to make
Festivus moment. I have a
systemic
lot of
change.
problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about them. And Anna said, "You can't say that." I said, "I can."
I did not say
said,
you
can't say that. This is.
I did
this
not.
Is,
Stop saying I said you can't
she
say
said,
that. That
"You
is
can't
not
say
what
that."
I said.
She said, "What is this, America, where we have free speech?" No, she said, "This is a dictatorship, and you can't say that."
You liar. I said you may have freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequences.
And I said, "What consequences?" Someone's going to be like, "Well, he shouldn't have said that, maybe." But I get what he was talking about. And that's interesting. I'm glad he did say it. But now, I won't say it. All right, moving on. We were on such good behavior when Michelle was here. And
we took a turn.
yeah. Turn for, I don't know. I was telling, I got softball games tonight. And I was telling one of my teammates the other night, I was like, we were talking about it. And
About the pod?
No, not the pod, just mischief. He's talking about something. I was like, it's fun to get into mischief. Like, why is that?
I don't know.
There's something about, like,
into-
being a little bit mischievous. And
We got into a little bit of mischievousness at iLead, and I feel like there's safety in groups when you're mischievous.
yeah. I think that's good team building for real.
Well, he said the rules were very vague. No one told me I couldn't. Or we couldn't. So we did.
Yeah. All right. Sounds cool. We gotta move. We gotta move on though. We gotta get in a different headspace. I saw a TV show and they were talking about headspace, and
Yeah, your blue's really coming out today.
Anna got me all riled up.
So when we were talking at Ollie this week, and like the blues, and they they were making it sound like, you know, we were, some of the other commentary from the other color groups were making it sound like we were like emotionally like cry, and I'm like, no, that's not really how I feel my emotions. It's more anger. It's more unhappiness. It's not like, oh, I'm sad. No, I'm mad. That's how my blue comes out, and I'm feeling that from, you know, you said blue was your second color. I can get the sense of that today.
Yeah, I guess that was your blue. You were worried about people's feelings. I'm trying to hurt them. I'm trying to hurt feelings.
No, I'm worried about what we're saying being misunderstood or misconstrued.
Oh, well, what I was saying is we don't do the work to put this fair together. And when things
Good
go
or
wrong,
bad.
when things go wrong,
we
don't be coming to us telling us how we're disappointing the county for not doing the work when it's like, we have nothing to do with it, bro. You want me to tell you what your issues are? You hobbled in here and you complained to me like I want to help you out after you've done told me how terrible I am and I'm disappointing the county and the kids for not having these tags ready. You weren't here. You were gone last week.
I know, but...
So, and don't let Anna act like she ain't a yeller. She yells. We've had people come in here and complain, and Anna called them back to tell them, you don't ever talk to us that way.
I did. I did. You know, I think what happens is when you're in the first person that they walk in and see, which was Madison, and it was something that it was not that big of a deal to talk to her that way. And I called that lady back and told her that she's not going to act like that.
Well, that's my whole thought is there is nothing that's that big of a deal.
Not
that
here.
You've got to kind of gripe at me, and you don't even
she
know who I
threatened.
am. Oh,
Threatened.
that lady threatened?
She threatened her. That's why she got a phone call.
How? With what? I'm going to come down there.
It's kind of like that.
Meet me outside.
It was that. It was that vibe.
What would happen if we got like 3-on-3, me, you, and Madison take on 3 clientele?
You better hope my crazy streak hadn't come out. That's all I gotta say. I don't know. Hadn't been in a fight in a long time.
How do you think you'd do in a fight? Do you think
I'd
you'd be
pretty
good at fighting?
I think I'd be pretty good. I don't know though. If they hit me, depends on where they hit me. That's the thing.
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like, you really don't know until...
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm short, too, so I feel like that don't help.
I think I'm pretty good about redirecting. Like, if you were mad at me, I think by the end of it, I could have you giggling.
Me?
No, anybody.
Maybe, yeah.
Like that person come in and complained at us.
How do we redirect you?
You got to get me on a different topic.
I don't think you're redirectable.
You got to come up with a more fun topic than the one I'm on.
Well, I mean, you brought up me calling that lady. I did. But she literally threatened Madison. And I'm not.
And
you do not walk in our office and pick the nicest person in here and then talk to them like that over something that was absolutely not a big deal at all. It had no consequential anything. Like, nothing bad was going to happen. Nobody was not going to get to do the thing or whatever. And to threaten somebody...
Yeah.
And guess who? But I will say that person called her back and apologized.
See? You got to say something. You got to say something, or how are they going to know? And I was just trying to put out some
Madison
information.
Was probably like, please don't call them. Whew. I did. I was mad. I could get mad about that all over again.
Oh, yeah.
I can feel
I
it.
like
I can
it
feel
when
it.
you get mad. It's funny.
That's what I say. Like, I'm not on. I don't think I'm funny like on purpose. That's what I mean. Like when I react, my reactions are very enjoyable for
They're
other
funny.
people.
Yes, she gets.
Well,
It's
not
like
even
a
mad.
raid.
Like
It's
all.
like everything has come to a head, and she's about to let you know about all of it, very loudly. And
I've not done that here. let's clarify.
But I've seen you get hot and lose that temper, and
I
it's
lose
just
my temper every 15 years, and I got to make it till I lost it in 2021. So I'm not very far into my next 15. I'm only a third of the way. Oh man, that's coming up. That was Labor Day of 2021.
Oh yeah, it was good. Well, I'm talking about drought today. I guess I can get on my educational topic.
I think we need to.
So, we are kind of at the start of a drought. It's rained pretty good through the summer, somewhat. Didn't rain much in the winter, not much in the spring.
No.
Then May, June, 1st of July got some. Now it's gotten hot. 100 plus degrees, like
For several days.
For several days, and that'll dry out stuff quick. Like your grass will be looking good. Now it's all crispy and crunchy. And so
we still have a little bit of green, but
there's still a little bit of green, but it's drying out quick. And yeah, if we don't get rain soon, things are going to start drying up quicker. So thinking about that, I get a lot of calls, not around this time, but it's usually later when trees should be blooming or leafing out in the spring and they're dead. And people are calling me and being like, something's wrong with my tree. Well, probably what happened is it thirsted to death back during that drought. So be thinking about that. Even though these big tall trees need water, especially one in your lawn, and when we have these periods of long drought, it affects those trees to where they get unhealthy, then a disease comes in, and then that attracts insects, and people will call and be like, I've had these bugs and they're causing all this issue. Well, the bugs have showed up after the fact. The tree got unhealthy somehow, and it's like humans. When we're not at our best performance and year round, it's easier to get sick. So if with these trees they're not getting watered like they need to be, it's gonna stress them out a little bit, and when they get stressed, things creep in.
They're susceptible. So the main thing, when we're in this drought, is we want to make sure we're watering our shrubs, trees, those bigger things that we don't normally think about needing water. They also need lots of water. So that's what I'm looking at this week is.
So be thinking about
now.
that, your tall trees. But I really want to talk, about drought, dealing with like our livestock or our forages, and some things that guys might not think about, or guys need to think about coming up with a plan. What am I going to do during drought? So what happens during a drought? There's no forage to eat. Grass dries up to nothing. And that's what our livestock are consuming. So what do we got to do? So let's just go through a few things to think about as a livestock producer. First thing you need to do is, if you haven't culled your herd in a while, drought it's a good time to get rid of those animals that aren't performing like you need to. What am I trying to think? So maybe that's your older cows, or it may be that you sell your younger heifers and keep your older cows that are good at producing. Or if you have that older cow that's kind of gone downhill, it's time to cull. Like we went over, your mom had a couple that we needed to get rid of.
She had one 1,400-pound cow that was, I think, just knocking everybody out of the food bowl.
Yeah, she super fat. Like couldn't even, like she got stuck in the head gate.
Yeah.
She's so fat. Like you could see the fat like
She had fat on her
Yeah,
forehead.
yeah, she was fat.
She's a big one.
With that, grouping livestock
Yeah.
into the same category. So we want to go through dealing with cattle. We can body condition score. We give them a score 1 to 9. 1 is like extremely thin. 9 is overweight. So we want to be somewhere around a 5 or a 6. 7 is what they say is perfect. But
Maybe hard to obtain.
maybe hard to obtain
In a drought.
in a drought. But looking at that body condition score, there's info online about what to look for on how to rank them. But group your cattle into the same kind of body condition. That way, they're going to have same nutritional requirements. If we have, there's guys around here that have year-round calving season, so you'll have some they got a calf on them. Some of them are pregnant. Some of them are weaned a calf. Some of them haven't bred back in a couple of years, and we don't know what's going on really. If we're going to be raising livestock, we've got to become better managers, doing simple practices to kind of make sure our herd's up to speed. That grouping all the animals that have same nutritional requirements is going to make feeding easier. During a drought, group those animals with the same body condition score. If you have some that are too low or too high, it may be sending them out. If they're too high, we can actually feed them maybe a little bit less, and they can stand to lose a little bit of weight to come down to, say, a 6 or so. But get them grouped together. That way you can feed them all the same thing. If you're not rotational grazing, setting something up like that, or having, say, we're worried about having to feed hay right now. We just spent all summer feeding hay, or cutting hay. It'd be a shame to have to feed a lot of it right now. But we've had pretty good hay cuttings throughout the summer, so there should be some hay available. If you haven't made as much hay as you think you're going to need, should be some hay available for you to buy. I always recommend that it'd be best to get that tested so you know what its TDN, the protein.
And if you're selling it, that would be a good selling
And if you're
point.
selling it, yeah, that's a good thing to be able to show people. Like, hey, this stuff it's got good enough protein and energy that it'll cover a dry cow that you could go out and that could be all you feed. Something else to think about if you're trying to, say, save some of your hay stores is maybe we supplement with like grain or something. Something that's real. A good option is like a corn gluten feed. We can feed them, maybe like a couple to 5 pounds of that corn gluten feed, and then maybe just give them a little bit of access to hay for a certain amount of time, or a forage or something, to where we're going to turn them in there and just keep them on like a sacrifice field or a dry lot, and we can come up, feed them the supplement that we're going to give them, whether that's grain. You got to think about, energy. We want to have enough energy to maintain their body condition score, and they have to have enough protein in there to maintain their body condition score, depending on their nutritional requirements. If that cow is dry, it's going to be a little bit lower than, say, if she's lactating, or if you've got growing calves, they'll consume around 3% of their body weight a day. Bulls will consume around 2.5% to 3% of their body weight. Cows, around 2% to 2.5%, depending on where they're at. So we could stick them in a dry lot, and that's where we're going to feed them, and then we give them access to hay for a certain amount of time. That way, they're consuming enough to activate that rumen, but we're just trying to get through the drought, essentially.
Yes.
And
That doesn't mean that's what you're doing long term.
yeah, it's not long term, but we're keeping them in one location, sacrifice pasture. That way we're hoping that the grass can kind of rest, and once it does get rain, recover and grow.
So that everything's not just eat down to nothing.
That everything's not just eat down to nothing. Some other things that you can feed, broiler litter. Did you know you can feed that?
I did know that.
Some people think that it's illegal, and you may think, "Ooh, but it is something that we can feed. However, like from those poultry houses, they can't have been fed like those chickens, any like mammalian type products like bone meal or something. Like none of that can have been in their feed. It's got to be like, know what I mean?
They changed feeds up a lot, so I
Yeah,
don't really
but
know how they feed them anymore.
but it's usually unlikely that they've got like blood meal or bone meal or something like that in there that they're adding to
Which that's
like a
something-
commercial feed.
yeah.
Usually it's like soybeans, corn, and
yeah.
a mixture of what they feed. But so we can feed that broiler litter.
But it usually goes through a heat process before you feed it.
And they can consume a little bit of that, and then we're just trying to get enough protein in there, and then add enough roughage that they're able to activate that rumen, and just to keep them going. But that is an option that you can feed. Like if guys have broiler litter available, it is an option for Drought to feed to get a little bit of protein in there, to make it, as far as a cheaper feed source around, that's an option. But what else? You got any questions about Drought? I need to.
Well, I did notice we were driving side by sides, and we went by a farm in Oni, and it was just a tree, and underneath in the shade was a ton of perilla mint.
Oh yeah. So noxious weeds. That's another thing to mention. So with everything out in the pastures turning yellow, what will cattle do is they'll sit in the shade, and that's where the certain weed grows called perilla mint or mint weed, and it's kind of got like a purplish color, have a purplish green color, but it has a toxin in there that if they consume enough of it, it can kill them. And what usually happens is everything's dried up and it's the only thing that's green, and it's there in the shade, and so they just sit in the shade and eat the only green thing, and then they get enough of that toxin and it kills them. Black or wild cherry is another one that can be toxic. Johnson grass, we can have nitrate and prussic acid issues.
So what do you recommend? I mean, I'm sure you're thinking of more, but what do you recommend to do with them in this situation? Because that perilla mint, it was bigger than this table.
Yeah.
But it was just solid in that shady spot.
If you're not going to control that perilla mint, I'd definitely keep them out of there. Like I wouldn't. I'd put them somewhere
bush hog,
else.
Stuff like that.
Well, think about it. Usually, it's in the shade where you're not able to get in there and bush hog all of it. So I'd use chemical option. 2,4-D will kill it.
Yeah.
I'd spray it is what I would do. And we may not quite be there yet. I was driving around, and some fields look still somewhat green. You can tell they're getting crispy, but know that we don't get any rain, if you've got a lot of that perilla mint on the edges of your fields in the shade, it'd be a good idea to pull them out of there or go in there and spray that stuff. The best time that stuff will start germinating in Mayish. The best time to go in and spray it is before it gets real tall, about 12 inches tall. And spray it then. May, June is what we're looking at. So
is that a perennial? A lot of mints are, but I didn't know about that one.
I can't remember if this one if it's a perennial or what it is. Are you looking that up?
Nope, it's an annual.
Annual.
And that's according to Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Also
Also known as beefsteak plant. Common mint, Chinese basil.
I was going to mention on if you do end up having to feed broiler litter, there are a couple things we want to, you might be worried about is hardware disease. That's like when cattle consume something metal, like if there's like a piece of wire or bolt or something metal in that feed and they consume it and it gets down in there and trapped in their stomach, it causes like issues. One thing which is neat, and I've never seen it used, but they actually make magnets that you can like give like a bolus, and then it's supposed to attract that metal and suck it up so they don't get hardware disease.
I've learned that from livestock skills.
Yeah.
So 4-H taught me that.
Another
As an
thing that
adult.
can happen is milk fever. Let's see. So, one other thing is like if we are culling and we're selling, tax considerations. There are or I think it's in the law, like if farmers having to sell or cull or something because of weather related, they can defer like their tax payments somewhat. It's mentioned in the MP that studies about that I was reading about drought.
And then also maybe check with FSA to see if there's any.
Yeah, the FSA, NRCS, they usually do some form of program to assist with drought. And it all depends on the drought monitor, the U.S. drought monitor. And I think it's 3 weeks at least a D3, I think is what it is when they start developing something for, say, some, what would that be called? Assistance. Usually that's, I think it's 3 weeks in a D3 drought, or maybe 4.
This is the 16th driest year to date over the past 132 years.
It's been like, I was worried earlier in the spring about like ponds drying up and people not having like water for drinking for their livestock.
This says that we're just in a DO, and most of Stone County, part of Stone County's in a D, or a D0. Part of Stone County's in a D1.
D1. And as it goes, like I said, stuff's still green out there, so yeah, it makes sense. There are different parts of the county that may be drier or wetter because we have these pop-up showers that'll happen, but I'm pretty sure I've heard this, that like for like say you wanting to get like drought recovery, I think I've heard this, and I don't know if it's a real thing, so I'll say that. You might check on it, but I've heard that what it takes to start initializing that process to getting like some government money is just somebody's got to call in and say, "Hey, I'm in a drought. We're having drought issues."
We're being negatively affected.
Yeah, we're being negatively affected, and then that kind of starts the process.
That's cool.
So there are options out there for drought. Funny story, I think I've said that. A few years ago, we did a drought meeting in July, and that's when that guy come in.
Yeah, that was wild. With the sirens.
Yeah,
and
with the sirens and wanting to, talk
to
to us about something. Should have let him. Should have been like, give us your spiel. Let's see. I seen a deal the other day that said you shouldn't ask if you make... Did that make sense?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I seen
I was
it.
with you.
Dill, and a guy was like, you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't ask if it makes sense. And I was like, is it TikTok? And I was like, shut up. Shut up. Who's watching you?
As you watched
As
it.
I'm watching.
Well, I didn't know how they decided, like, the drought, when to give drought money, so.
I think
Part of Stone County's in a D2, but a very tiny percentage.
Yeah. I think we got to get to the D3.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll be there
we're
quickly,
not that far away.
because it's really close.
Yeah, if it stays hot, 100 degrees plus, that next week it'll be...
Yeah, part of the state's in the D3, so it...
That's my goal, is to work with these livestock producers, all the farms around Stone County, and get them all top-notch up and running, where it's just... Drought happens, we know what to do.
Yeah. Be nice.
Drought's coming, time to start thinking about culling. Oh, maybe we need to early wean. It depends on where. That is another thing you can do, like if you've got a lot of cows, like especially if you've got a lot of lactating cows right now. Let's think about this for a spring Your spring calvers probably would still be on. So what? We start spring calving February, March, April. So we're what, 3 months? April, May, June, July, August, 4 months. So you'd, if you had a good calving season with a less than 90 days, spring calving, they're probably still on the cow if you're keeping them on there for about 6 months. That's kind of typical. So if we're spring calving, if you're a spring calver and you still got them, they're still on the mamas. Early weaning, pulling them off, weaning them early, and then that puts her in that lower nutritional needs. So different options. Again, all farm operations are going to be different. Everybody's set up different. But these are things we got to start thinking about. We don't want to end up, here in 3 weeks being in the drought and then start trying to worry about something to do. If we can plan early and have a plan and an idea of what we're going to do if it stays dry, we're probably going to do a little better. Or how would we say that? You'll probably be more likely to make it through.
Yeah, with as least cost added on as possible.
Yeah, it's
more efficiently, I guess.
More efficient, yeah. You'll have an idea. You'll be more efficient of what you want to do. More
proactive.
Yeah, be more proactive. So drought. Hopefully, maybe it'll rain.
I hope so. There's a chance this week. Maybe it'll happen.
All right. So I guess that's all I want to touch on. Do we need to talk about anything else?
I don't know. I feel like we hit a lot.
I think so.
Or at least it took us a while to hit it.
Yeah, it took us a while to get topped up.
That's those Monday podcasts for you. You got to get warmed up. I've just been out redneck living all weekend, so going to races and side-by-sides on the dirt roads and creeks, so got to learn how to act again.
All right. Well, hope y'all enjoy listening.